Now, from CBS News Miami, this is Facing South Florida with Jim DeFede.
Welcome to Facing South Florida. I'm Jim DeFede. As I'm sure you will recall, back on September 23rd, the Miami-Dade College Board of Trustees held a special meeting in which they gave away nearly 3 acres of land the college owns next to the Freedom Tower. The meeting lasted 3 minutes. They said the Pledge of Allegiance, voted to give away the land, and adjourned without a single second of discussion. Within minutes, literally minutes of the trustees voting, Florida Attorney General James Uthmeier released on Twitter this video announcing what was really taking place.
This morning we're here in Miami at the Freedom Tower, our very own Ellis Island of the South. Immediately adjacent to the Freedom Tower is the land that the state would like to set aside, land that we hope will one day house the Presidential Library of President Donald J. Trump.
In response to what many saw as a blatant violation of the Sunshine Law, historian Marvin Dunn sued the college to stop the land transfer. A circuit court judge then issued a temporary injunction blocking the deal, saying she thought there was a good chance Dunn would win at trial. So this week, the Miami-Dade College Board of Trustees met again to fix their mistake. And this time, more than 100 people showed up to express their opinions on giving away land that is worth anywhere from $60 million to $300 million. Now, when the public testimony concluded, the trustees, appointed by Governor Ron DeSantis, voted once again to transfer the land for the Trump Library. After the meeting was over, I spoke to one of those trustees, Roberto Alonso.
I think this is a great opportunity for Miami-Dade County, but more importantly for our students. This is going to be a truly use of academic space for them, as well as an economic and cultural benefit for the entire region.
So let's drill down into that. What guarantees has the trust received from the foundation that'll build the library, that'll develop the library, as to how the very things that you're talking about, making it a benefit for the students, what guarantees have you received from the foundation?
So as of right now, there are no guarantees, as you're fully aware, and I'm sure the listeners are. What we did is we actually did a conveyance of land to the state. Now our attorneys will work together with the state's attorneys to build out what are going to be some of the requirements around it. But our definite view on this is that it's going to be a presidential library that will have those benefits for our students and the community as a whole.
But doesn't it make more sense to negotiate before you transfer the land? In other words, to try to get those assurances, that deal in place before you convey the land?
So once again, it's not our decision to do the final conveyance, it's the state's. This was a request that was made by the governor and his team to convey the property over. And as we said in today's board meeting, this is truly state property. What we're going to do as a board and as a college is make sure that we're part of the conversation and make sure that we bring in all those educational benefits as well as the economic and cultural benefits to our region that every presidential library throughout our country has brought into their communities.
Sure. Will there be a hotel as part of this library?
There's been speculation and some discussions around it, and I've been very clear on it. I want this to be a presidential library. If there is any revenue generating assets within this location, it's definitely going to have one that would then benefit our students and that would benefit our college. But at this moment, I have not been made aware of any of those. It's all speculative that we've heard from speakers and other individuals, and it's something that we'll be keeping an eye on and making sure that we put into any documents that we put out on the importance of this. And when our attorneys do work on it, they will also make that a point to make sure that if there are any revenue generating parts of this library, whether it be a hotel, a restaurant, or whatever it may be, that there is an impactful benefit to our students and our college.
Isn't it your role as a trustee to protect the school by making sure these things are in place before you move forward with something like this? Don't you lose your leverage at this point?
So as we stated today in the meeting, the leverage is the state requiring us and requesting that we convey the property over. Now is when we'll go into the actual transfer of deed. In the transfer of deed is when we hope to have those conversations with our attorneys. Today was just a vote to convey the land. Now it'll go into the attorneys working out what are going to be some of those requirements going into it and how it is that they protect it. But at this moment, what we've done is we've fulfilled a request from the governor, which is to convey the property to the state for public use.
So again, you felt that as a trustee, you had no other choice but to do what Governor DeSantis told you to do?
Well, it's not whether we had a choice or not, because we are an independent body. But at the end of the day, this property belongs to the state. This is a state college, and this property is part of the state inventory of real estate. Being that it's not being used for anything right now, and it's literally old asphalt in a parking lot, we have to be able to provide that unless we had a plan for better use of that property. And there is no plan today. The only plan that was there was one from 2018 when there was discussions about doing luxury condos, which I'm not in favor of. And I know that the previous president of the college did have that as a vision, and it's something that I personally don't. And from what I've heard from the rest of the board members in today's meeting and in our first meeting, nobody's in favor of doing luxury condos because we're not going to put private dollars over an educational benefit to our community.
Again, but there could be a private development as part of the library, whether it's a hotel, condominiums, restaurant, even some have speculated a casino. But, since you don't have any guarantees on any of it, how can you prevent that from happening now?
So that'll be up to our attorneys now as they work out the language of the conveyance of the property and the title to make sure that that language is put into there and that we get a full picture of what's going to be built there.
Before that first meeting, the one that lasted literally 3 minutes, before that 3-minute meeting in which the motion was made, there was no discussion, and it was approved, who did you speak to? How did you know what you were voting on? I guess that's what I'm saying. Who met with you? Somebody must have met with you to explain to you why you were having this special meeting and what you were conveying. So who was it who met with you to inform you of that? Because I'm assuming you're a smart enough guy. You wouldn't just walk into a meeting blindly and just vote yes to give away a piece of property without having some understanding of what was happening.
Well, I think the first thing to understand is that we're not giving away a piece of property. We're conveying a piece of property over to the state, which is the righteous owner of it. Because this is state property. We are a state college. And what our college board is doing is conveying the property to the state. The state is the one that's going to be ultimately deciding on what organization it goes to. But with regards to who updated us or who provided us information on this, it was our attorneys at the college, as well as the college president that meets beforehand with us individually before these meetings to brief us on the agendas. And the briefing that we received
I want to be clear about that. So prior to the special meeting that you had the first time around, the president of Miami-Dade College met with you personally and explained that you were going to be conveying this land at the state's request because of a potential Trump library being built there. The president of the college told you that?
At no moment was a Trump library or any presidential library brought up by the college president or by our attorneys. It was simply a letter that was received from the state to convey it, and her explanation and our attorney's explanation was that this is a process that the state has when there's underused properties or properties that are not being used by a public institution in the state, that they have the rights to request for it to be conveyed back to them so that they can use it for public use. And look, nobody cares more about the college than I do. I'm a product of Miami-Dade College. My two sisters graduated from the college. This is one of the most important positions that I have. But when the governor of the state of Florida, who is the governor who was duly elected by the state to govern, and they have control over these properties and they request that their conveyance occurs, we have to follow the orders of the governor's office if they're legally permitted.
When we come back, I ask Alonso about the accusations he and other trustees violated the state's sunshine law. Stay with us. Welcome back. Florida is fortunate to have a sunshine law which is intended to keep the public informed about what government officials are doing. Unfortunately, many officials in Florida see the sunshine law as a nuisance and something to get around. And that's what we saw with the first meeting of the Miami-Dade College Board of Trustees. This was the notice posted online announcing the September 23rd meeting. It stated, "At this special board meeting, the District Board of Trustees will discuss potential real estate transactions." They didn't say whether the transaction was to buy land or sell land, or as it turned out, to give land away. And they certainly didn't identify which parcel of land they were going to talk about, or that they were going to give it away and give it for a Trump library, even though they knew exactly what they were doing. I'd like to show you video of that September 23rd meeting, but the trustees made sure there was no video record. I'd like to play for you audio from that meeting, but the trustees made sure there was no audio recording of that meeting. So during our interview, I asked Roberto Alonso if he believes he and the other trustees violated not only the spirit of the law, but the law itself.
So right now that's still under current litigation, Jim, so I'm not going to go into the details of it. I know that our attorneys have advised us that all the laws were followed and that everything was published. I know that it was noticed through the Miami Herald because the Miami Herald was actually present in person.
Well, let me ask you, do you think the Sunshine Law is important?
I think anything that protects the public is important and something we should have in place. I don't have any problems with the Sunshine Law. I think it's beneficial because it remains everything at the Sunshine, making sure that any conversations that are had are done in the Sunshine and that the public has the opportunity to be there, to see what's being talked about, to see what's being decided on, to see what's being negotiated. So
But
I have no problems with
case. But the original meeting did not allow the public to have that understanding, did not allow the public. You saw today how many people, dozens and dozens of people came to testify because they felt strongly about this issue. If you had let the public know before that first meeting, you could have had that same result then. But you only agreed to a second meeting after losing the first round in court.
We did not agree to the second meeting because we lost any case. We have not lost any court case. A board decided on its own to rehear this in order to continue the process moving because it had moved to the 3rd District DCA and it was going to be months before they heard it. And I think it was important that we gave the public the opportunity and that we continued moving the process over because as we've seen and we saw today during public comment, especially from the folks who are suing and making the claims, this is not about Sunshine. This is about politics. And they made it very clear that they just do not want a Trump library in Miami. And they said it all the time. And when individuals go up there and they start cursing and saying things that are so inappropriate and really make it about division rather than unity, it's really sad that we're at that point here. Today's argument from everybody that was there was not about the merits of a presidential library. It was all politics. And I invite everybody to go back and listen to those public comments.
If only you had allowed the meeting itself to be broadcast, then people might have been able to watch it for themselves live or be able to go back and watch it. But what you're now describing is a system in which you would have to go back and listen to audio tapes. Why didn't you allow the meeting to be live streamed? Why didn't you allow TV cameras? Because CBS wanted to be able to stream it as well, but we weren't allowed to tie into the audio recording system to be able to get clean audio to feed out to our viewers. If this was such a great deal, if this was such a great idea, why has the trust done everything in its power to keep it a secret and to keep it away from the public?
Nothing has ever been a secret here. We've always been transparent as we are as a college. Today, there was numerous cameras back there. I want to say there was over 15 to 20 cameras recording everything that was said and everything that the board members were saying, as well as the speakers.
But your meetings
I'm not going to go into the
normally,
technicalities because I don't run the audio system as to how cameras can connect or not. I do know that the meeting was held in the Sunshine. I know that video cameras were allowed in and that individuals were allowed to speak.
Why wasn't it streamed? Why did you not have, like you have your regular meetings, which are videotaped and streamed online so that people can see it? Why didn't you have this meeting streamed for the public to be able to watch live and in real time?
All of our meetings are held in the same fashion. When you have a special meeting as we had today, None of them have ever been live streamed. Those have always been recorded, and the media is always allowed and people to come in. And then the monthly meetings are the ones that are streamed. This is a typical practice of the college. It goes back beyond before this board and before the current president. So it's nothing new. I don't know what the technicalities are of why some meetings are streamed or not. That would be a great question to ask to our media team, and they might be able to answer that for you.
Yeah, it looks, the appearance is you're hiding something.
Well, I don't think anything was hidden because there was over 100 speakers there today. Every news media agency was there. You obviously were able to get all the information that you needed about the meeting. So I don't think anything was hidden. Nothing was hidden at the first meeting because the Miami Herald was sitting there. If nobody wanted to come to the meeting, we can't force people to come to the meeting. But our meetings are always open, transparent, and open to the public. And we always allow everybody to speak and to share their opinion.
Up next, I get Marvin Dunn's reaction to what the trustees did and why he is continuing to press on with his lawsuit. Stay with us. Welcome back. After the Miami-Dade College trustees voted a second time to transfer the land, I spoke to Marvin Dunn to get his reaction.
It was not a surprise at all, Jim. And it was the most incredibly different meeting I've ever been in. I've never been in a public hearing like that, where we were given 3 minutes to speak. They listened to the public for about 3 hours. Then each member of the trust who was present spoke in favor of the item, and then they voted. There was not one moment of discussion among them about anything that was said in that room. It was as if we didn't even show up. No discussion among them about what we said. So it was a waste of time. Clearly done to avoid the lawsuit, which was not successful because the lawsuit will proceed.
So explain that to me. Why is the lawsuit proceeding? What are the next steps that you want to take?
We're going to court. The trial is set for August. They will try to have it thrown out. We will oppose that because just because you try to correct breaking the law, you still broke it the first time. So they still have to account for the fact that back in September or earlier, they still broke the Sunshine Law. So we will proceed with depositions and discovery based upon what they did back in the summer. Yesterday's meeting didn't fix that.
Now, I know that the is the idea that the lawsuit would overturn the vote or merely hold them accountable for their failures to comply with the Sunshine Law at the first meeting?
That is what we were looking for. Their failure to follow the law the first time around. Exactly. And even if they were able to get the land given to the state, I will file another lawsuit to prevent the state from taking it over and giving it to Trump. There must be a law in Florida law that prevents one politician from taking public land and giving it to another politician for free and no benefit to the state. So we're going to look into the legality of DeSantis even giving this property to the Trump library, even if he got it.
Now, the argument is that your opposition is purely political, that your opposition to this is because of your animus towards Donald Trump, and that if this was anyone else, you wouldn't be carrying this forward. And I heard Roberto Alonso and others make that argument during the meeting, basically saying that it were Democrats that were coming out to oppose it. What's your response?
I would be opposed to giving that land to Obama if he had the nerve to ask for it. No president should be given public land for political purposes. So it is not about Trump in that respect. It's about giving away our land, our children's land, to a politician. I'm opposed to any president having that land for free, including Obama.
One of the issues that I tried to raise with Robert Alonso was the question of why not get certain guarantees. I can see the benefit of having a presidential library attached to Miami-Dade College. I could even perhaps understand donating the land if you saw benefit on the other side that was guaranteed. You know, for instance, if there were specific programs that were going to include students, if there was classroom space that was going to be part of the structure. But it seems as if the idea was we'll transfer the land back to the state to give to the Trump Foundation, and then we'll work out the details later. That just seems backward to me.
That's correct. And before the meeting yesterday, there was no discussion at all about getting anything back from the state. People need to understand, too, what the Trump Presidential Foundation is. It's three people. It's Eric Trump, his wife Laura, and some law dude that we don't even know anything about. Those are the folks who are getting this land, those three people. That's the Presidential Foundation for the Trump Library. So it doesn't matter to me who the politician is. No politician should get land that belongs to our children.
It seems to me that because there are no guardrails on what can be built there, that you could have a presidential library, but you could have a presidential library that also has a hotel and condominiums and restaurants.
Eric Trump has told us, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but Eric Trump has told us what's going to go there. He says that they're going to put up an iconic building on Biscayne Boulevard, an iconic structure on Biscayne Boulevard. They're going to put up condominiums, luxury condominiums on that property that will bring millions of dollars to the Trump family. That property's commercial value may be as much as $300 million. That's what they're getting. That's what the Trump family is getting under the guise of a library. I don't doubt they'll have some place with books and a few artifacts from the Trump era, but this is a commercial venture for the Trump family. And people should know that. The use of the word library is a ruse for the Trump family to make millions of dollars on land that belongs to our kids.
I don't want to go too far afield here, but I feel I should ask you a question about just something that the president said yesterday and his view of immigration. And we know his views when it came to Haitians. Not only has he taken away temporary protective status, but the way he speaks about Haitians as you know, the way he did during the campaign.
In Springfield, they're eating the dogs, the people that came in, they're eating the cats.
And then this week, during his final cabinet meeting, he went on a rant about Somalis in the United States.
They contribute nothing. I don't want them in our country, I'll be honest with you, okay? Somebody would say, oh, that's not politically correct. I don't care. I don't want them in our country. Their country's no good for a reason. Their country stinks, and we don't want them in our country. I could say that about other countries, too. I can say it about other countries, too. And we're going to go the wrong way if we keep taking in garbage into our country.
When you hear the president speak that way, what are your thoughts?
He's a racist. These are racist views, and he reflects them very, very directly in saying those kinds of things. It's the same as his comment about these people being vermin, about immigrants being vermin. It's a very, very deplorable, sad, angering comment coming from this president, but not surprising.
And again, you know, I understand that you said you would oppose this even if Obama asked for the land for free, but is there something about Donald Trump having his presidential library in a city of immigrants next to the Freedom Tower that you also find offensive, that you're opposing, or does that have nothing to do with it?
It does have something to do with it. It's perverse to put that building, that proposed building, next to the Freedom Tower, which means a lot to our Cuban American community, is an insult to the history of that community. Here you have a president who has been the most violent in resisting immigration and in punishing new arrivals in our country. To now put that building next to the Freedom Tower is an insult to the Cuban American community, and I think some of them are coming around to that view.
We will continue to follow this story. Well, that's all the time we have today. If you have any thoughts or comments, feel free to contact me at jdefede@cbs.com. Oh, I do enjoy hearing from you. Thanks again for watching, and enjoy the rest of your day.